What's going on, good people? So, man, welcome to another episode of First Generation Wealth Builders, man. Today, I got my brother Andre back with me, man. What's going on?
Chilling, man. Been working. Just came from work.
I
Had to work this
see.
morning, working again, and excited to be here with you, man.
Got the brunch and grooves with the gold Air Max. I see you, boy.
Yeah, man. You don't make it easy for me, man. I never know what to expect. You'll mess around and have some J's on.
I
and then
low
me
key
and some
been chilling, bro.
Converse.
I'm on my Nipsey Blue today.
I love it. I love it. So how you been, man?
Man, stressed. You know what I'm saying? I lost my assistant. I mean, I still got her. She put in a resignation. She got a great opportunity. She's taking advantage of it. I'm happy for her. I mean, I've had her for 6 years, but it's definitely stressful. The process of transitioning out of that, finding somebody to put in that, and she does so much that's really like, she does more than what she's supposed to.
Yeah.
So I think that I got real comfortable with that, man. So my feathers got ruffled a little bit with that news, but it's all good though.
Yeah.
I mean, she's helping me and assisting me in getting somebody else. We did make a new hire, so hopefully it was the right hire.
Yeah. So, man, I've been meaning to ask you too. Like, people tell me I juggle a lot, right? You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. Like, between having a real estate business, having a hair company, right? Having a staff, doing this podcast, constantly being a lifelong learner. Like, how do you make all that work?
You know, so I'm gonna be honest. Right now, I'm failing.
Okay.
And so I had a conversation with somebody, and it's just feeling is a tough word, but things happen that were out of my control, and so people getting ill at work. We had like 3 individuals get sick, so I had to pick up the slack and work in the business. When that happens, and my daughter got track meets and things of that nature. Obviously they're affected by that if I have to stay and make sure that the hair company is still open and things of that nature. So it's been tough lately the last 2-3 weeks juggling that with absences at work because of illness. And so those things I cannot control. Now, I have been over the last year trying to condense it. And so my goal is ultimately to sell her hair company. Okay. We've been in 9 years. We still do great revenue. And so like my goal is to basically, pass it down to somebody who could, maintain it and or keep it going at a high level here soon. So I'll be looking to sell that as I want to solely focus on building my rental portfolio. And I want to now continue pursuing the entrepreneur path where I'll be teaching real estate. And it goes hand in hand because if I'm working it, I could teach it, I could talk about it, I could build content. So, I think that's all. I see that in the next year for myself.
Okay, and that's dope. Like, and I'm not trying to turn the interview on the interviewer, but you talk to me a lot about, Andre, where's your time going to come from to do right? Yeah. And so to do the real estate stuff. So it's encouraging to hear, because you talk about feeling like failing, right? When you said that to me, like, where's your time going to come from? I felt naked. I felt exposed because it's like I'm constantly trying to do stuff to make my future work. And I don't know which thing is going to pop off. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to plant seeds and see which ones grow. But it's hard to see that, to take that approach and then realize something's got to give because now I got to create time for this thing, right? And so to hear you talk about it almost simultaneously, you talk about not just I'm going to create time by eliminating this, but I'm going to flip that time over to this. I got to learn that, man. I got to pick that up from you. So I appreciate you sharing that way.
One thing, though, before we conclude there is any business and everything I've started, the key to it has been that I've always hired an assistant when I started.
You said that.
And the reason why the key has been that is because they're learning as I'm learning.
Yeah.
So Ziggy has been learning as I'm learning. Right. Ziggy has learned the audio and the visual to the podcast because we've been doing it together. Right. Therefore, I could release myself from that responsibility and could only solely be Ziggy's responsibility. So hiring an assistant is something that could help entrepreneurs really excel quicker and move faster and fire themselves from working on the tasks that are just like admin and focus on the tasks that bring in revenue. So that's, so for me, I just know that her hair company's idle. It's not idle anymore because I have to go back into it just a little bit. But it's just that just comes with the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur, man. So, man, that's that. And then, man, I put a house in the market this week on Monday.
How'd that go?
So it was a rental property. It's a nice rental property. It's on the east side, 25th and German Church.
Shout out to the east side,
Bruh. Hey, man, the east side is going to quit doing that on my podcast, bro. Damn near lightweight, disrespectful. But,
you brought it up. I'm just saying.
But no, so I had it about 2 years ago. I got it on a short sale.
Okay.
So I got it from a bank, $85,000. Ended up, closing costs and everything. I ended up putting right around 20 into it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 120 into it. So
an additional 120.
No. I apologize. I bought it for 85.
Yep.
I put 35,000 into it with closing costs and repairs. It brought me up to 120.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So I apologize. And so, so I'm 120 into it. I have a loan on it as I refinanced it. Had a renter in there for 2 years. Yep. Now I'm selling it. It's just an asset that the area is just kind of like hot, just because there's no inventory available under 200,000 in Indianapolis, really. Right. So, no lie, we put on the market Wednesday. We had literally like 25 showings by 7 o'clock a.m. the next day.
That's dope. How many offers did you get?
As of today, I have 9 offers. So I extended it, and I was just like, hey, we're just going to do a final and best Saturday. Throw me some numbers. So I put it out there. We started at 167.
Yeah.
Right now, the best offer I got was 190. That's it. So 23,000 above asking price.
That's dope, man. Congrats.
Don't congratulate me yet.
Yeah, because I know.
So let me bring you in the speed of something, though. So every time you sell a property, you have to get appraised. It has to be appraised.
Right, yeah.
And so although they're offering me 190, the property may not appraise at that price. I'm thinking it's going to appraise at 175.
Okay.
Now,
have you run the comps around there?
Yeah, the comps are right around like 168 to 170.
Okay.
All right. So this is the thing, though. I always put my prices to sell.
Yeah.
I'll let them compete
to drive
the prices up. Now, this is the one thing I will tell you. Whenever you're getting offers in the future on your property, pay attention to when they offer above asking, how far are they willing, how much cash are they putting over appraisal?
Yep.
Because that will determine then what you're really going to get.
Right.
So although they offered 190, in their contingency offer, it could say something like, we'll pay 10,000 cash above appraised value.
Right.
So now they're saying, so that $90,000 offer, if the house appraised at 170, is really only
gotta be worth 180.
Basically, yes. That's something to pay attention. Yeah, and that's something for those out there who are looking to sell homes, flip homes. Something to be aware of. Just because you got that offer doesn't mean that that offer is 190.
Right. So let me play it back. I can get an offer for, it doesn't matter what the number is. The appraisal is going to come back and say, based on what's going on in the area and us walking through this house, we believe this house is worth X. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to get whatever that generous offer was, they have to be willing to make that up with cash.
Yes.
And so when they submit an offer, it's going to say, here's what we're offering and we're willing to go this far above appraisal, whatever that number is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Now, something that could really get really interesting. Yeah. Let's say you got 2 offers that are the same. They come at the same number. They both land in 180. Yeah. And then one offer says as is.
Yeah.
I'm taking as is.
Right.
And what that means is that when they do an inspection, regardless of what's wrong with the property, they're binded to take the property. And so I don't have to do, and I have to do no repairs.
So can I tell you something?
Yeah. Come on in.
So we've accepted 2 offers on our house.
Okay.
Right. So before we put our house on the market, we had some neighbors that just knew what we were doing, and one of their cousins reached out and wanted to come check it out. Mm-hmm. So they came by, checked it out. They put in an offer, and we hadn't even listed it, and they were going to buy it as is. That was the only reason, like, we stopped. We didn't worry about trying to put it on the market or any of that. Like, we still took pictures. We just kind of held off on being aggressive about hitting the timeline. So we do an inspection anyway. Inspection report comes back. They want all this stuff. And I'm like, You said you were going to buy it as is. So no, we're not doing any of that. And the market had gone so crazy from the time they gave us an offer to the time we were going back out. Our asking price was able to go up. Just our baseline price went up like 30 grand.
30 grand.
And then we still got above. Sorry, it was 20.
Okay. It's still crazy.
Yeah, we went up by 20 just on asking, right? And then we ended up getting another 30 above that by the time we got done in terms of offers.
Hey, man, going into this deal, how much did you think you were going to make?
My goal was to make right around 125.
All right. Let me even get deeper into the number. What did you want to sell for?
I wanted to sell between 4 and 425.
All right. And what are you selling for now?
410.
Okay. Got you. Okay, so you got right in between.
Yeah, it worked out perfect.
Cool.
Worked out perfect.
So, man, last time we teamed up,
yeah,
we talked about your goals.
Yes.
All right. And so the goal was that you wanted 50 properties because you wanted to make $500,000 annually.
Right.
And that was a retirement goal.
Right.
All right. So for us to use real estate as the vehicle for you to retire, you and your wife to retire and to pass legacy on, your number was 42. We got you to 50.
Right.
And so, like, tell me why you wanted to get there.
Yeah, so I'm huge on family, right? So for me, I've looked at it and said, my mom is going to need long-term care. My kids got to go to college. I got to pay for weddings and all that other stuff. And from an income perspective, we make enough that we can take care of pretty much everything. But it would be year to year, everything we bring in goes right back out. So we knew we always wanted some other stream of revenue besides like 401ks and all that other stuff because those get taxed like crazy and there's a bunch of fees. And for me, real estate was always something I was intrigued by because it's tangible. It's right there in front of me. I can see it. I can touch it. I can feel it. So the idea became really relevant as I talked to people like you and some other mentors of mine that have properties. And so it really made me start thinking about, wait, how does this really work? And how can I make it something that will actually be a part of my long-term portfolio? And that's when I really started putting pen to paper and saying, okay, at the time, I think average rent was around $746 a month when I looked. And so I was like, okay, if I can do that, even if I have a mortgage on the properties, that's only going to be a short-term thing. Once I pay those off, I'll have all that as income. So I just started adding up the numbers to figure out over a 20-year period, I think it's 20 years, $500,000 a year, it puts me right at 10 million. And my overall net worth goal, net worth of 10 million is what I'm trying to shoot for.
Gotcha.
By the time we retire.
All right. So, as I've always said, my goal is to slap the what's his name? Dave Ramsey out of you, man. Yeah. Like, not literally, but you know what I mean, hypothetically. So we don't worry about net worth, man. It's cool, and it's naturally going to happen when you invest in real estate. Yeah. Because you're going to get appreciation of properties, and people are going to be paying your mortgage down as they live in the property. I think that the real wealth is defined by when your cash flow, your passive income exceeds your expenses. Right. So if our cash flow and passive income can exceed our expenses for a lifetime, I think that's where we all as investors win. And so I think that the goal of 500,000 is going to super exceed the 10 million as, we'll do some things to kind of get you there. So, man, that's where I would love to get you, and I'm going to try to during these videos and these meetings that we have to show you and teach you and empower you on the impact of the cash flow and how it could really work for you. So let's talk about how you going to get there, man. You know what I'm saying? Have you thought about your turn-by-turn directions on how you going to get to this?
So I thought about it a little bit, but that's where I really wanted to glean your insights, right? Like on how do I go about looking at my first properties and what do I do once I see something that I like? Like what does that look like? How do I do that?
Got you. And so I think that your how-to is be like, you got a mentor here to kind of assist this. You know what I'm saying? So we got kind of like the entrepreneur effect going on.
Right.
All right. So when I think about that, there's 3 ways that this thing can really go for you. But the first thing is you know, what type of resources do you have to really achieve this? And when we talking resources, let's talk money and time. Let's talk about that. You know, so what do you think you have in your reserves as far as time and the money to invest?
Yeah, time is absolute zero.
Okay.
So I know I got to move some things around between like brunch and grooves. That takes time out of my day, just planning and figuring out what we're going to do, putting flyers together, working with people to get that done. I DJ every week for F45 gyms. I've got an employee that works for me and does the same thing. So
you got
accounting
kids
and all that stuff. I got a family, right? They got softball practice and all types of stuff. So time is, and plus I got a regular job, right? So,
but let's get into details. You got 3 kids.
I got 3 kids.
Because somebody listening to this,
needs to know, right? You're right.
Yeah.
So I have 3 kids. 2 play softball. So softball and baseball. So we have practice twice a week plus games. My kids do e-learning, so they are at home with me during the day, and I'm working remote because of COVID. So anytime I could make up, like during the day, right, just with, hey, I'm in between calls, that doesn't exist because I'm engaged in e-learning. I run my Brunch and Grooves business with my partner. I also run the STEAM Exposure Camp. That's something else that I started a couple of years back. I'm an active board member on 2 different boards. There's just
all right, bro. You got a whole lot, bro. You got a whole lot. All right. So let's talk about your funds. How are you going to kind of capital do we have to start with?
Yeah. So the plan is with the sale of our house, we think we will net just under $200,000. We're going to take roughly a small portion of that, get into our next property, get some initial furniture and things like that, but everything else is going to go towards real estate.
Now, real quick, sorry to interject. So you're going to make $200,000, but there's no capital gains because you lived in your house for over 2 years.
Right.
So when I say there's no capital gains, I'm basically stating that he's not going to pay taxes on the income earned on the home sale of his home because he lived in his home for 2 years.
Right.
That's a benefit.
Exactly.
So that is a way to actually. So I mean, in essence, this is your first flip because you lived in your property for about 6 years.
We lived there for 9.
9. Okay, I apologize.
Wait a second.
9 years.
9 years.
Okay, got you. You say you don't like doing math in public. My bad.
Yeah. You got me with that one. You got me.
All right. So that's where no capital gain. So $200,000 of that $200,000. How much do you think you plan to allocate towards your future goals?
Yeah, the plan is to definitely allocate 100. We will try to do more, just depending on family members and trying to settle some stuff that we got to do to get. So let me back up. The plan is with the house that we're going to buy is to move in both sets of in-laws. Right? Okay. So we're looking to buy something big enough that we can put everybody into one spot so they can age in place.
You're a good man.
Well, because the goal is to have our parents age in place, right? Like their long-term care is going to be expensive. So if we take their mortgage payments away, and this is something everybody really needs to think about, if we eliminate their mortgage payments, the agreement is that money goes towards a fund that you will self-fund. And so when it's time for your long-term care, we'll be pulling out of that as opposed to the brothers and the cousins and the uncles got to figure out how to, right? Because that's how you end up cutting into your generational wealth. Because it's like everybody got to bury Big Mama or everybody got to do something for Big Mama. If we allow them to age in place, when it's time for them to need services from a nurse, we want to be able to pull from that money and have the nurse come in as opposed to we got to put you in a home or we got to do this other thing. So that's the strategy there. So we're looking at buying something big enough to have everybody live there and age in place. And so we know minimum 100K is what we're going to put towards the real estate. But depending on what it takes for us to get like an elevator put in and that kind of stuff, we may have more.
Wow, elevator in the crib.
Stairs.
That's that Rick Ross type of rap, bro. Like elevators in my crib, living next to Pat Riley. Like that's what we doing here.
I don't know about all that.
I mean, that's not normal, bro.
Hey,
it's cool. You not normal. It's okay.
I'm with it. I'm just saying, like,
play humble all you want to, bro.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying so. The Rick Ross verse would be like aging my parents in place.
Nah, that's not.
The stairs ain't gonna get it.
Nah, there ain't no Rick Ross growing to that. Nah, you got money. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's cool. You just made some money too. Had a sold out event. That boy got them cute gold shoes on. I see.
Cute.
Hey man, back to the program. So
now we got to get back on.
Yeah.
See how he jabbed me and then he jumped back.
Yeah, man, self-defense.
Okay. That's how you do when the show people. Just get your own show and you can bully your guests. That's what you do.
Nah, I'm just saying, bro. I see you, bro. You know. All right, so all right, so we got that you're gonna have $100,000. You don't have time though.
Right.
So let me start with the way to acquire that takes the least amount of time.
Okay.
The way to acquire that takes the least amount of time is to buy turnkey rental properties.
Okay.
So a turnkey rental property is typically a property that's already been rehabbed. All right.
Okay.
And that means that you're paying retail price for the property. You put 20% down. We could get a bank to give you 80%. And in some cases, it has a renter in it already.
Okay.
So it's cash flowing, and you go into it, you put 20% down, and you go.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the problem with that is having a goal of 50. You know, if you buy 5 houses at $100,000, you could exert all your resources.
Right.
And so I just want to put that out there.
You're saying if I put the 20 down on
5 houses, you know, we would exert, because essentially to get 50 homes in 10 years, as we talked, that's a way to get 5, but then we would have to find a way to build up more cash
which is going to take time
to execute it again.
Yeah.
But the prices of homes are going up, so to be able to acquire the same price may not be, you know, the same. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's one way to acquire. The next way to acquire is by finding distressed homes. So these homes are at a discount rate because you're no longer buying properties that are on the market and that are rehabbed.
Okay.
So this is how you find, you know, discounted properties. You could order a list. You could use PropStream or you could use ListSource. So PropStream is a software and ListSource is a software where you could order lists.
Taking notes. I'm not checking my text messages.
You good? Where you could order a list for probate, pre-foreclosure, divorce.
ListSource, and what was the other one?
PropStream. Mm-hmm. So again, you could get lists like probate, divorce, pre-foreclosure, tax liens.
And you can say specifically like I'm looking for these things.
Right. And you could aim at these type of people, you know, out-of-state investors. And so when you do that, you would basically put in a filter and you would add that you wouldn't want to receive properties that have less than 40% equity in them. And the reason why I say that is because we want properties where people have 100% equity because the price is more negotiable. They don't have a mortgage.
So it's 40% equity or more.
There you go.
Got it.
I apologize if I said that backwards.
Yeah.
So we want 40% equity or more because we want them to have a lot
Profit
of
margin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it's distressed, typically it's going to be about 10 years or older.
Okay.
Where they're not taking care of the yard, the roof needs work, the AC needs work, it's beat up, the siding is, you know, new windows and things like that. So that's the way to do it. Now, doing it that way, I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to take some time because you would have to get off work and make calls to distressed owners. So you would have to make time to call and set an appointment and go see these guys.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Now, the other way to do it is driving for dollars. So, yes, you're looking for discounted properties, but now you're not looking at a broad spectrum. When you order a list, you order it by zip codes and areas. So you could look at zip codes that you're interested in Indianapolis or in the suburbs.
Ballpark, I'm sorry. What's a list cost?
It just varies. I would say you could put 15, anywhere between 10 to 15 cents per property.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you had 100 properties at 7 cents, you know, it might be $7.
Don't do math in public.
Yeah. But you get where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
So, but the goal would be to get a large amount of numbers to give yourself the best amount of eyes to call, you know, to contact somebody.
And
the goal is timing and follow up. A lot of people, they'll be in between. If they're pre-foreclosure, they got 2 or 3 payments late. They're not quite in foreclosure, and that's where you want them because you don't want it where the bank takes over. But they're in a situation where they're trying to debate what they're going to do. Yeah. So your follow-up is going to be important. You know, sometimes it's sensitive to them. They're embarrassed. So your strategy and how you talk to them, you got to be kind of like aware and gentle with it. We teach that at Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur. We could talk about that later, though.
Okay.
All right. The next way to acquire, though, is driving for dollars. This is where you're going to get your big deals at. Because basically, you're going to be able to go in areas that are gentrifying, and you're going to be able to see the distressed homes with bad foundations, no roof, boarded up houses. They're just bad siding, just terrible homes. And what you do, you could take an app called Deal Machine. You could take an app called Deal Machine, and you could literally, man, like just look at their home, type in the address, and it's going to give you the name and the phone number of the person that owns the property.
Just like that.
Just like that. But
so wait, if I type my address in, like my name and my phone number's in there,
then you have to hit a button called a skip trace button. So skip tracing is the process of obtaining somebody's phone number.
and don't nobody owe me no money for that.
You have to pay a fee to do it. You know, it's about 25 cents.
No, I'm saying like if my name and my number's in there, don't nobody owe me no money for that.
You could put your name on a do not call list, and it won't come up. But otherwise, yes, that's how you could get somebody's number, and that's how a lot of people make find homes and deals in between.
Okay.
Now that takes time too, though, because you got to make the time to drive, and you got to take time to call. So the thing about that is you could find deals at a way deeper discount to where now.
I just got overwhelmed. I'm just
Go ahead. What you think about? Talk to me.
because like your first question about my time now makes sense, right? Because I'm like, where's the time for that gonna come? Even if I cut 2 or 3 things.
I say if you make anywhere between 5 to 10 hours a week, you start finding deals sooner or later. When I say sooner or later, I say if you're persistent and you're smart. So I say within the next month or two, you'll start finding your first deal or two.
And is that 5 to 10 just driving, or is it like 5 to 10 driving, doing
A combination.
calls?
You got to find your niche.
Okay.
So if you are a good persuasive salesperson, you'll be able to close deals quicker. If you're not comfortable talking to strangers and cold calling,
Right.
it may take you 70 calls and raps and conversations to get your first deal
Got you.
or a first appointment.
Yeah.
But if you're good and persuasive and you understand how to basically talk at that person's level and can get them to get you appointments, you're giving yourself a larger chance to get more homes.
Gotcha.
So it does have you do have to have a skill in between there. Now, this is option 3B.
Okay.
When I was talking about calling lists, you could have virtual assistants call your people. And then you could give them a questionnaire, and that's what I have people do for me. They have a questionnaire, and they basically make the calls. They call thousands of people weekly, and I might get 20 leads. Out of those 20 leads, I may set 10 appointments.
Okay, Nino Brown, you got people chopping it up for you, huh?
Hey, we outsource here, bro. You know what I mean? We outsource. And so that allows me to function throughout my day and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I set my appointments throughout when I have windows open.
So
and
are they like,
that keeps my real estate business going as I'm operating, doing other construction jobs or other places.
that makes sense. So then, like, how much does it cost to have a virtual assistant do that?
That could cost you anywhere between $4 to $10, depending on their experience, how good they are. But you would get them out the Philippines. So you would use an application called onlinejobsph.com.
$4 to $10 an hour?
And you could look at their resumes, and they could basically tell you what they've done, and you could look at their experience and their ratings.
What's the app called?
Onlinejobs.ph.
Okay.
That's how you get virtual assistants. So those are the options, man. Out of those, man, what do you see? What do you find appealing? You know what I mean? Like I said, you got time issues.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of being able to keep as much of my capital liquid so that I can grow the portfolio faster. So I'm thinking like driving for dollars with a combination of the virtual assistant makes the most sense to me.
Got you. I would say start with one, and then I would later teach you how to monitor your KPIs.
Okay.
And then we would expand to the next.
And
So I think we
key performance indicators.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to keep this rolling, I think a homework assignment is to determine which one you're gonna start with.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about KPIs maybe in another video, another session we do.
Cool.
All
Okay.
right. The next thing is you're gonna start to need to build your team out.
Yeah.
And so what we first need to do, outside, I know you got your money, but we're gonna need to find you lending. And we're gonna need to find you a construction lender.
Okay.
So the reason I say construction lender, these are the individuals that basically loan on construction projects.
So why is it a construction project and not just I'm buying a real estate
because if you're buying a regular property and you get a traditional loan, like they have stricter laws in what they can lend to, and if the property needs to be rehabbed, the loan is not meant for rehabilitation. It's made for just retail purchase.
Right.
This is meant for you to support you purchasing the property, and it supports your repairs. Okay. So the next thing you're going to need is just to build a relationship with your current bank.
Okay.
Because the construction lender is for when you purchase the property and rehab it. Then when you refinance, you need a conventional bank.
Okay.
So we'll need to talk to your business banker at your current bank.
Gotcha.
Also, you're going to need an agent.
Okay.
A real estate agent. Because agents could put parameters within their software to where you could get an email every morning with all the properties that came on the market that in the notes says that it's distressed, needs rehab work. Okay. And you would get notifications about homes that come on the market that need work.
And are you doing that now?
I do that in specific areas like Fishers, Westfield, and Avon. Okay. And that's how I get distressed homes in those areas.
Okay. So then you've got a VA that's calling on those as well?
No. Remember, my agent set up the list. These are on the market.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you need to. So these are coming on the market, but you don't have to go search.
Right.
She's putting in the parameters of the properties that you look for. Yep. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, distressed, needs rehabbed. Yep. So anytime they see that, I get a notification in these specific areas.
Right. And so we were calling because these were houses that weren't on the market, but they were distressed.
Right. That's off market. This is an on market plan.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what I mean? Right, so I apologize. I didn't distinguish the two. You're going to need a title company.
Yep.
For when you close on a property, especially if you're going from a seller to a buyer with no agent, you still need a title company to close the deal. Yep. So I use Investors Title up the street. I could get you the number and get that done. But a title company is what you're going to need. You can watch the video, bro, at the end. You ain't got to take notes right now. You being rude.
Oh, okay. All right. That's how you going to do it. Again, when you got your own podcast, you get to bully people.
Oh, okay. Man. Right. And so, last but not least, man, we're going to have to get you a contracting team.
Man, that part is the part that's the most unnerving to me, because I've heard horror stories, man, of just they started and then they didn't show back up, and they took a deposit and I ain't hear from them no more.
Got you.
They cut corners on the work, etc.
Got you. So we're going to create you a portfolio sheet. Although you haven't done a property, I'm going to allow you to leverage my name and some of my work.
Okay.
As we're mentoring each other, I'm mentoring you through this process to basically obtain some new contractors. Okay. But I'll give you one, and we can have a video about this later, but I'll give you one. You can go to every Menards around the city, and in the plumbing department, they have sheets with lists of contractors. You can go to the trim area, trim and doors. They got
trim and door contractors.
Painting, they got painting contractors. Okay. So, man, you could go through there. If you had a VA, she could make calls and set appointments for you. Meaning that if they're working, you can go out to the job and see their work.
Why do I care if I go on their job to see their work or not?
That's where you'll actually be able to see the quality of the craftsmanship.
Right. It's
also,
like I want to see you DJ.
If they're not working, more likely in a market like today, they're not that good.
Yeah. Okay.
So if they have work and you have to get on their list to get on, for them to work for you, that's actually good. Yeah. 2, if they're willing to show you their craftsmanship, that shows that they're confident in what they're doing. Yep. 2, you there's no referral. Like, that is the reference. Yeah. The tile looks excellent.
Right.
As in contrast to you see crooked tiles or half done stuff, like, then you know that's not the guy for you.
Yeah, because I don't want to see pictures online. I want to actually pull up on a job site and see your job.
Right. So that does take time, but it'll save you from those horror stories that you hear people talking about. So that's where we got to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Now, when do you want to start this process?
So we're hoping to close April. Actually, our close date is April 29th. So we're trying to have our purchase and move in done by like August time frame.
Okay.
So I'm thinking once I get into the house, that's when I'm ready to kick this off.
Got you. Okay. I'm going to need you not to do a wire. We need to see your check, bro. I need you to.
Yeah, I'm not doing the wire because I want to hold the check.
That's what I'm talking about. We don't get to hold $200,000 checks,
Bruh.
and then we don't also like got elevators where I live at. So I want to see all of that. You know what I'm saying?
You get to come to the house, brother. That's
There it is, man. So I think this is a good stopping point for us. That's quite a bit, and then we could basically, continue on and get back on track and just go through the process with you, man.
No, I'm looking forward to the next episode, man.
Cool,
I'm back with my homework done.
There it is. So, man, thank you for watching another episode of Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur in the First Generation Wealth Builders podcast, man. Until next time.
Peace.